Greetings, gentlemen and ladies. I'm the old school game snob. In today's video, I'm going to show you one of the best things I think I've ever found. One of my favorite items ever of all time. Now, here's the other thing. I was actually thinking about gearing this channel towards kind of a little more hardcore play-focused builds and items, because they're different, right? The builds around hardcore are different than the builds around single player or non-hardcore, because non-hardcore you're stacked towards doing as much damage as possible and magic find and stuff like that, and if you die, you die, it's no big deal. In hardcore, well, if you die, it is a bit bigger of a deal. So sometimes you have to sacrifice some of your damage output in order to, well, not die. So in that context, and that's the thing, I've seen like other content creators out there creating content kind of in related niches, specific niches. We've got some single player focused content creators. We have Cooley is into the PvP quite a bit. I see, by the way, I'm also I've never done PvP in Diablo, which is strange because usually when it comes to PvP, that's kind of like the first thing I go for in any other game, but for some reason in Diablo, I haven't done it yet. I don't know why. It's on the list though. In the meantime, I've been playing hardcore Diablo, and the other night I turned up what I would consider to be my very favorite item ever in Diablo, and I like this item because it's kind of weird, and you might not think this is even necessarily good. It's good for hardcore. If you're not playing hardcore, maybe less so, but in hardcore, man, I love this item. Here's the thing. This is what we're going to look at. This is the item I found here. This is a chromatic coronet of life everlasting. Now this can roll up to a perfect 25 damage reduction, which it did. It can also roll up to a perfect 30 all res, which it came 2 points off from. I'm okay with 2 points from perfect. That's okay. 28 is still a lot of all resistance. Now this is an extremely good item because, well, what you may or may not necessarily know is that most monsters, be they melee or ranged physical, do not hit much harder than about 100 points of damage. So if you can stack 100 plus points of damage reduction, you find yourself in a situation where you're taking almost no damage or zero damage from monsters. For a hardcore character, that's really good. So taking zero damage from melee is just very, very good. And you can get something like this, Coronet of Life Everlasting. Let's talk about this item a little bit more, and then I'll get back into why damage reduction is good. Chromatic Life Everlasting. So this, like I say, rolled perfect 25. And I was actually trying to roll a jeweler's version of this, which would come with 3 open sockets. So my thinking was, I'll get 25 damage reduction on this regular blue magic item. And for those of you who don't know, blue items, even though they only have two magical properties on them, can roll those 2 magical properties higher than rare items. Rare items roll more properties, but blue items can roll some of the highest mods in the game. So in the case of something like damage reduction, it needs to be blue. It needs to be a blue item. So here's what we rolled, and I was going for, like I say, that Jeweler's 3 open socket, which is again a magical mod. The Jeweler's mod is a magical mod that opens 3 sockets. And then I was going for the Jeweler's mod of Life Everlasting, and I was thinking 3 open sockets plus 25 damage reduction. That's going to be pretty good. Instead, what I rolled was even better, even pound for pound better. So what I rolled was 25 damage reduction, no open sockets, but I also got the 28 all res. 28 all res is a huge amount of resistance. So then what I did is I took this unsocketed item to Larzak. It's like, hey, Larzak, can you possibly put 2 sockets into this for me, buddy? And he was like, you know what? I'm going to try. I can't guarantee it. It's like 50% chance it'll be 1 socket, 50% chance it'll be 2 sockets. And that's the thing, when you socket a blue item, you got a 50-50 chance of rolling a 1 or 2 sockets. So when this rolled 2 sockets, man, oh man, two open sockets for a couple of soul runes inside of a 25 DR, 28 all res coronet, I was like, holy smokes. For hardcore, this is probably about as good as it gets for the helm slot. If you're looking to create kind of like a character that takes 0 physical damage, which I am. So basically, on that note, and I will be releasing a build guide as soon as I acquire some of these weird and rare pieces that you might not normally use. I'll be putting together a complete build guide showing kind of like the best of the best stuff, right? To kind of create like a unkillable hardcore character. That's kind of the goal. So you can, but at a glance, in a nutshell, you take something like the Coronet of Life Everlasting, you socket that with some soul runes, you get a bunch of damage reduction. You also add something like an Amulet of Life Everlasting. I don't have it right now, but you might get something like Gladiator's Bane, which can roll up to 20 damage reduction. Also magic damage reduction. You can socket that again with Larzut Quest and put another soul rune in there. You can get something like Girk's Sanctuary and roll more damage reduction, more magic reduction. I think I had that. There we go. Girk's Sanctuary. This is a low roll, but that can roll up to, I believe, 15 damage reduction. And I think it's, well, I would need to check. Is it 15 or 20? I can't remember. 15 or 20 damage reduction. Anyway, you can also socket that and put a soul rune in there. Or something like, actually, Moser's Blessed Circle is pretty good as well, because it comes with some all-res. And you can put some soul runes in there to get more. And the other kind of interesting thing that I was going for, and this is an example of the Jeweler's mod that I was just talking about, that I was hoping to roll into the headpiece, but actually ended up rolling something better. This is a Jeweler's Kite Shield of Amichai. I don't know how to say that, but this can roll with up to 15 damage reduction. You can also roll with up to 4 open sockets if you roll a Monarch, right? So you take 4 open sockets and add 15 damage reduction, so 4 soul runes into your shield would be 28 damage reduction plus another 15 if you wanted to go that way for like a 40-something damage reduction shield, which is pretty crazy. You can also do the same thing in body armor. Body armor can roll with up to 15 damage reduction and 4 open sockets. So if you really wanted to stack damage reduction and take like no physical damage basically from anything, roughly 40 from the shield, 40 from the body armor, 40 from the headpiece, another 25 from the and then you can get, I think it's like 11 on the Nature's Peace rings, 11. Basically, you can stack a ton of damage reduction. I'm not going to need to stack all of it because I'm going to try to balance that out between damage reduction, enough to basically be immune to everything, and then resistances, something like Thunder God's Vigor and Hellmouth Gauntlets, which I don't have yet, to absorb fire and absorb lightning. Then you stack up your lightning and fire res, and you heal, basically, from lightning and fire damage, which are, of course, the 2 most dangerous types of elemental damage in the game. Then the only thing I've really got to figure out is how to reduce that magic damage. Now, there's not too many things in the game that do magic damage, and so you can kind of just avoid them when you play, like the Pit Vipers and stuff like that do magic damage. Or those Bone Spirit Skull throwing Abyss Knights or whatever they're called. They do magic damage, but they don't do too hard of hitting of magic damage. So something like Gladiator's Bane, which has magic damage, plus Girk's Sanctuary, which has magic damage. If you want to socket a Mal rune into something, you can get more magic damage. And you can take very little magic damage. You can stack roughly around 70 magic damage reduction, I think seems to be enough to nullify almost all forms of magical damage. That is, unless you have an amp damage or like a fanaticism or something like that. You still have to watch out for that. Those would be cases where you wouldn't take 0 damage. So you would still take a lot less damage. So survivable, right? You can still get away and take a lot less damage in case of harm. So basically, the build guide is going to go something like damage reduction, absorb, block, defense. Combine all these things, especially on something like an Amazon, which has evade, avoid, and dodge. The defenses just get so crazy good. I love creating super defensive hardcore characters, trying to just like find something totally invincible. That's been my goal since I started playing Diablo. Is it possible to somehow come up with something that's basically impervious to all damage in hardcore? I haven't quite got there yet, but I feel like we're getting close with this build. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Just and for in context, just how rare this is. And thank you Diablo devs for not playtesting the 50% off vendor prices, which they did. We had a little interesting glitch there. Glitch or feature? I don't know. 50% off vendor prices combined with Guide's Fortune plus the edge bow basically meant that you could gamble coronets for like 35,100 gold and then sell them back for like 35,000 gold most of the time. It was kind of silly. I put together a video of it actually going down because it was just really silly. It was so crazy. I'm actually a bit surprised that we didn't get like a rollback. I was half expecting maybe like a bit of a rollback because I know a lot of people were playing around with the almost unlimited gambling gift that was going on the day before. Anyway, in that gambling, and actually with this character, level 90 hardcore character, I have spent every last bit of gold that I've earned on this character, and basically I keep my inventory empty, right? So I can just loot stuff and bring it back and gamble it into coronets, because the part of this build is, you know, getting that great coronet and that great amulet, etc. So I've been gambling the whole time. To put into context how rare this is, I've only found one of these. I've also managed to find a Griffin's Eye. I actually found the Griffin's Eye before I found one of these. So this is exceedingly rare. And then you have to luck out and roll 2 sockets in it with the Larzuk quest, which is 50-50, right? So this is a super cool item. Of course, you don't, if you wanted to create this build yourself, you don't have to get that lucky. You can get, honestly, you can get something without the all res and still put together a very solid invincible build. That's what I did in one of my hero editor play testing builds, and it works very well still. But this is, I'm trying to put together a build guide which is like going to be top of the line, top tier, invincible hardcore character. That's kind of the goal here. So, but yeah, to put it into context, I gambled up Griffin's Eye here before I gambled this. I only gambled one of these that had both of these mods on it, all res and damage reduction. And then you have to roll them perfect. Damage reduction can roll anywhere from 15 to 25. All res, I think, can roll 10 to 30, I think. 10 to 30, I think. So there's a lot of room for error, even if you do happen to roll these two together. That's the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, stopped recording. Yes.